My name is Evelyn Coorey, and I have the privilege of being a scholar at the Geelong College. I was born in Kudamaduwa, Sri Lanka, during what would be one of the last few years of our country's 30-year civil war, and by the time I was 3 months old, my mother had to fend for us both on her own. After over 4 years of doing so in a country that had no system for single parents, she decided to leave Sri Lanka to a country where she hoped that I could have a better future. So we came to Australia alone just before my 5th birthday with barely more than the clothes on our backs. Throughout primary school, Mum could only afford to send me to a nearby government school, where fees ran as high as $200 a year. Having attended a private school herself back in Sri Lanka, it broke her heart to not be able to send me to one as well, knowing that regardless of how hard she worked, she would never be able to afford such a luxury as the sole provider for both of us in a foreign country. Despite her education and qualifications, for years she couldn't take high-end jobs because there would be no one home left to take care of me. So instead she worked tirelessly at minimum wage jobs, leaving very early in the morning and not returning until well after it was dark. She devoted the rest of her time and energy to raising and supporting me, teaching me the piano, sending me to countless extracurricular classes like singing and ballet, so that I was armed and motivated to rise above my circumstances rather than restricted by them. I give you this background not to evoke sympathy. In fact, growing up, I was largely unaware of the battles that my mother faced in order to provide for the both of us. But I want to depict the position that we were once in, where we came from, and where this country and this school and scholarship allowed us to go. Growing up, I watched as my friends and peers in my community were sent to selective schools that didn't accept students below a certain academic standard. But my mother believed in institutions that cared less about the numbers and instead offered a more eclectic sense of learning and education. So she did the research, made lists of schools that she'd want me to attend, and out of maybe 15 schools, there were approximately 2 that she could have afforded to send me to. So I applied and sat for scholarship exams at schools like Cardinia and Ballarat Clarendon, and I ended up receiving a few offers and acceptances of varying degrees in the coming weeks. But despite my successes, there was still much uncertainty about which school I would attend. But the second that we found out that Geelong College had offered me a full scholarship, I knew exactly where I was going. I had toured at multiple other schools before, but something about my few visits to college had drawn me in, and I knew I could never say no to such an incredible opportunity. And what a journey it has been. I have grown and changed so much from the 12-year-old that first got her acceptance letter. I think of all that I would have missed had I not received my scholarship, the people I never would have met, the memories I never would have made. Even the grueling early morning and late afternoon APS trainings that I never would have had the privilege of complaining and whining about, or my first ever camping experience of the 8 treacherous and somewhat traumatic days spent in the Otways with little more to eat than dry 2-minute noodles and soggy wraps. Looking back, I realised I was given so much more than just a few free years of tuition. I was armed with the irreparable chance to pursue an education filled with opportunity that I otherwise never would have had access to. I learned the flute and furthered my practice in piano and voice, performing in our concert band, symphony orchestra, and choir. Before I came here, I didn't even know schools had things like orchestras and choirs and foundation concerts. My passion for public speaking and debating has been nurtured by Miss Green and our debating program since Year 7, and I've had the privilege of representing college in numerous competitions along the way. This year, I also had the honour of being a school prefect, to be a part of such an incredible group of leaders and help to give back to the very community that has done so much for me. And the same girl who was once absolutely mortified upon learning that college was an APS school suddenly found herself, voluntarily, signing up for rowing, of all things. I was shocking at it, and I'm pretty sure many coaches were wondering why I kept coming back year after year. Yet despite not having any skill in it whatsoever, my experience with rowing, and every other new and daunting task I tried, revealed itself to be exemplary of the incredible culture that we have here at college. One that allows people to step out of their comfort zones and into the unknown, and take risks, knowing that they are surrounded by an abundance of guidance and support. It has been an environment that's given me the room to enjoy the little things, and discover the value in doing things just for the sake of fun, experience, and memories. College is a place that allows us to build on so much more than just our marks. It helps us grow as cognizant people and members of society who have a world of opportunity and experience at their disposal, Not every establishment is able and willing to go so far for their students, and to have a place in such an accepting and nurturing community is such an incredible privilege. I could have hours to prepare and refine a speech like this, but in the end I would still find myself at a loss for words to describe just how life-changing this scholarship, these people, and this school have been for me. I get to walk through these gates every single day, and they will always be home to me for the rest of my life. And for that, I will never be able to find the words that encapsulate my appreciation and indebtedness. To the Foundation, and especially Dr. Miller, my mother thanks you every day for taking care of me and giving me what she had worked so hard and wanted so much for me to have. And finally, I thank you for doing what you are doing to help so many deserving kids from all different walks of life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me a chance and making real what once seemed like nothing more than the far-fetched, unrealistic dreams of a tentatively hopeful little girl. I will never lose sight of the wisdom and courage you have given me. This place will forever be a part of who I am, and I wouldn't have it any other way.